can we make or enhance or grow our reputation as it is our currency? What do we need to invest in to build our personal brand? So if you're joining us, let us know where you're joining us from. I'd like to see on the chat who you are and where you're joining us from, and perhaps some interesting random fact about you being here today. So one interesting random fact today is that the internet seems to be failing everywhere around us. I hope it's much better for you wherever you are. And I hope it's going to be kind to us for this next 1 hour. So let me know where you're joining us from. The chat is open. I am Vicky Karuga, Managing Director of Profiles International, and I am joining the webinar from Nairobi, Kenya. I can already see some of my colleagues who are joining us from outside of Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm really interested to know where you're joining us from. If you have a friend who had registered this webinar and you don't see them here, perhaps, please give them a call or give them a shout. Let them join us as we talk about your reputation as your currency. So I'm waiting to see some chats. Liz, where are you joining us from? Elizabeth? Liz, are you still there or have you left?
Sorry, I am still here. I'm joining us from Nairobi, Kenya. It's been a very hot day today. Loving the weather. Too dusty though. Waiting for the rains.
Yes, it's been dusty. We are all waiting for the rains.
Yeah.
Let me see who else is joining us. Where are you joining us from? I can see there's Brandon, Joanne, Lillian, Judith, Sylvia, Tunu, Wanjiro. Where are you joining us from? There's also Renee who's just getting in. And we're going to start at exactly 5 minutes past 6. Where are you joining us from? Where are you joining us from? I still haven't seen anything on the chat. I am still waiting and hoping. We have good. So I have Tunu Mugabane. I hope you have pronounced your last name properly, and you are joining us from Nairobi, Kenya. Welcome, Tunu, to this webinar. Who else do we have? We have Brandon, who's joining us from Mombasa. Welcome, Brandon. Good to have you here. Then we have Charles, of course, Charles Secondo, joining us from Dar es Salaam, all the way from Tanzania. A very warm welcome to you, Charles, and all the people in
Judith from
Tanzania.
Uganda. Sorry, I'm driving. I can't type.
Judith, thank you very much. So you have Judith from Uganda. Thank you very much, Judith. Lovely to have you on board. Great. Okay, so as you're typing and telling us where you're joining us from, and of course we will read this out, I would like us to at least start the session today. It runs from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, so we like to really keep it nice and short and sweet. As I said, my name is Vicky Karuga. I run a company called Profiles International. At Profiles International, we do work around talent development, and we do this through our psychometric assessments, which we offer for recruitment, for development, for succession planning. We do this as well through our culture interventions. We love working with organizations around how to bring in various elements to support performance and, of course, to support the objectives they want to fulfill, to support the growth of revenue, money. We also work with people around emotional intelligence, and we have coaches who are partners to us. We also offer digital learning solutions, digital learning partnerships. That is an LMS, a platform. And last but not least, we do work around leadership development. And we have today with us the highly acclaimed, I must say, Derek Bbanga, who I want to introduce shortly. let me just project a little bit of his bio. I've known Derek for quite a long time. Very, very, very suave gentleman and very considerate. So I would like to introduce him in about a minute. Let me see who else is joining us. Just want to see if we still have more people coming in. We're about 23 now. If you're just joining us, just let us know where you're joining us from, and we shall be able to read out your chat. So we are today hosting Derek Bbanga, not for the first time and definitely not for the last time, who is an executive trainer, coach, facilitator, and speaker. And Derek does a lot of work around executive presence. And he says that he works at the intersection of performance and leadership. His work sits at this intersection of performance, leadership, perception, and personal standards. He currently serves as the leadership development manager at Public Image Africa, where he works to help professionals increase the soft skills that increasingly determine career success and earning potential. So his clients learn how to build social capital through stronger leadership skills and sharper communication. So he works around emotional intelligence, and he's a certified generous emotional intelligence practitioner and coach. And here he does the work of helping you improve your self-awareness, helping you enhance the way that you communicate to others, and of course, build your resilience and your effectiveness. Derek has worked with very, very many brands across Africa, and I know he's also worked in Europe as well. So he has gathered quite the experience globally. And if there's anyone who can really sit down and let you know how or where or what is required to ensure that your brand speaks for you before you speak for yourself, then there's no other man other than Derek Bbanga. So I would like you to help me welcome Mr. Derek Bbanga to this session. Derek, over to you, and let's show him some love. Emojis. And I can see you have some cookies.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you so much, guys. The gremlin's out today, but we will soldier on undeterred. If you can hear me, I know there's a bit of an issue with my camera, but if you can hear me, okay, just put a Y or a yes in the chat. Vicky, if you can help me, just let me know that those Ys or those yeses are coming in. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to turn off my camera until I can get the camera in sync with my voice. So
Yes,
there
we
go.
have you.
Right. The yeses are
We
coming
have a
in.
few
Wonderful,
yeses.
wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful, 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 wonderful. All right. Let's get this party started. Your reputation is your currency. And then in brackets, are investing in your personal brand. So this is an extension of the personal branding series that we've been running here with Vicky and her team. As she said, this is not the first time that I'm speaking to you. And this is just another angle of looking at working on your personal brand. Let me share with you a fact. The hardest thing to swallow when talking about reputation is that it is always evolving. Your reputation is evolving. Your reputation is growing, hopefully, in the right direction. And your reputation grows incrementally and silently. It is a record of what you have done that has been taken quietly without anybody announcing anything. I don't know if that was too many words for you to understand, but what I want to take away from there is that this reputation, you can take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Okay? And what we're talking about today is how we can use our reputation to advance our personal brand. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I'll just let you know that my interest, particularly in this area of personal branding, came from my love of the superhero genre. I love superhero movies. I always have. And the superpower I wanted to have when I was young was to be invisible. Can you imagine being invisible? Because I didn't want to be called upon in class. I wanted to hide when my parents were looking for me if I had done something wrong. And the superpower I wanted to have was to be invisible. But fast forward, and now the superpower that I would like to think that I have is the opposite of being invisible. It is actually being visible, but being visible for the right reasons. I like to say seen, heard, remembered for the right reasons. And so for the last, decade or so, I've really spent my time helping executives, professionals, leaders, teams, people like yourself figure out why some people are trusted when they walk into a room and they're being seen for the first time, and other people perhaps aren't. Even when they're just as capable, they have the qualifications, they have the makaratasi, the papers, but sometimes they're just not seen as capable. So for me, as Vicky said, it's about bridging that gap. That's really what today is about in terms of your reputation. Okay? And what we look at is this thing called the reputation economy. I hope you can see that. We'll try to look at some hidden drivers. We'll explore these pillars, a framework for your personal brand, and then hopefully we can touch a little bit on what are the concrete actions that you can take. Okay? Now, what I would like you to do, just to kind of refresh yourselves in terms of this thing called personal branding, is what comes to mind? Answer this question. What comes to mind when you hear personal brand or your personal brand? Just put it in the chat. Wake up or chat. Type something in the chat. Vicky, if you can help me with some of those answers. Well, what is personal branding to you? 1 word, 2 words, 3 words? Just let's see if we are on the same page. And while that is coming in, let me try my camera again. Let's see how we're doing. Oh, looks like it's a little... Okay, that's fine. No worries. Okay, what's coming in? Vicky, would you mind reading those out for me if you don't mind, please? Thank you. Actually, you know what? Hang on 1 second. Let me see if I can get them also myself. Vicky, are you there?
Let me help you here out, Derek. So the
Okay,
first
no
one
worries.
is
Yeah, please.
what you
Thank
are
you.
known for, what you're
Mm-hmm.
associated with.
Uh-huh.
Lucas says watu wako na pesa.
Hey, okay.
We have
What we're gonna
unique, yeah, and we have uniqueness. Another one is what you stand for, from looks to personality, how people perceive you.
It's from Renee. I can see that. Thank you, Renee.
Yeah. Who people remember, what people remember about you when you are away. We have Patrick with what makes you outstanding.
Wonderful.
Yeah, perception seems to be a big thing. We have how people perceive you and how you are perceived.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you so much for that, Jane. So we're not starting necessarily from ground zero. I think people have an idea of what their personal brand. Like I said, today, I sort of want to approach this from this thing called reputation. And I'm going to talk about this sort of the reputation economy, if you will. I hope you can see that. Your reputation is currency. I mean, full stop. It compounds, multiplies, or it drains with every single interaction you have. Interactions with you. Are there a stairway to heaven or a highway to hell? Forgive my French. And this is what it means in practice. This reputation appreciates with consistency. Okay, these are some of the key words. And guys, you can take screenshots. Trust. Showing up. Okay, we talk a lot about that in terms of emotional intelligence. Following through. Being the same person on a rough day that you are on a good one. That is what builds the balance. It's about tilting these scales in your favor. And by the way, just like an account, you deposit or you remove. It depreciates with every broken promise, every careless moment. All right? Or it appreciates with you having a positive interaction with your target markets, you know? And by the way, it takes, you know, I don't know, missing a deadline, okay? Not following up on something that you had promised, okay? And, you know, that can, as I said, depreciate or put a debit on this account that we're talking about. And by the way, you can't hide a bad balance. People will feel it before they can even put words to it. Okay? Remember that example I used in the beginning. Somebody enters a boardroom and people say, hey, something is off. What wanasema, we're leaving because of the energy of that person. Part of that is that reputation. The gut sense, you feel it in your bones, your gut. Something's a bit off. That's usually your reputation account running low, and everybody around you can sense that overdraft, even if they can't name what it is. Here's another fact, and particularly for people who are working in teams. It is shared. That reputation is shared with your team, your company, your name, your organization, the people that you're associated with. They're all drawing on the same account. So again, as I'm saying these things, I just want you to do an audit, if you will. Just over the last month, where are we? August, mid-August. Okay. Well, not technically mid-August, but we've had a couple of, at least a week in August. Has your reputation account been making deposits or withdrawals? In fact, here we go. Put it in the chat there. Has your reputation account been making deposits or withdrawals? Weka hapo kwa chat ndio tuone. Put it in the chat. Over the last, let's say, let me extend it further. Let me extend it to the last quarter. Deposits or withdrawals? Okay, this one we will not even read. We won't read out. We'll protect the guilty, if you will. All right? But you know yourself. Okay, thank you, Lillian, for your honesty. And again, this is just an audit. This is not to call anybody out. Okay. So this hidden driver that we're talking about, by the way, forgive me over here. This is not about your talent. It's not about your title. In fact, it's not even about your effort, so to speak. For me, and my approach that I'm taking today, which might be different from either what you expected or what you have had, comes from a position of leadership. And I particularly chose this because I believe everybody in this room is a leader. What is actually running the show and what is tilting the scales or the ledger or the account book in terms of your reputation, either making withdrawals or deposits, is the state, the leadership state that you're operating from. The internal place, by the way, when I talk about this leadership, it's an internal state of being which shows whether you're leading or showing up from moment to moment. And I'll make this very clear as we go through this. Okay. It's not about your talent. It's not about your title. It's about your internal state of leadership. Okay. So I want to introduce this leadership states that I want to walk you through. These leadership states: survivor, striver, and thriver. And I want to be really clear. These are not stages that you climb once and stay on forever. You can move between these depending on the week, even depending on the day. I certainly do. But we're obviously, as you can tell, that we're trying to achieve perhaps a state of thriving rather than surviving or striving. So, surviving, holding things together, just trying to keep it together. Yeah, that's been my season, if I can be honest, over the last couple of months. Striver, working hard for every win. You're really, 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 really working hard. And then thriver is building something that actually compounds. Remember, we're compounding. We are adding to our reputation ledger account. So let's take them all at one at a time. By the way, if we're together as far as what I have explained so far, where I'm going to go, just tell me we're together. Tuko pamoja. Just put a Y or a yes. Tell me niendelee. Ama nisiendelee. Tell me, continue, Derek, we're together. This is what I want to hear, my state of leadership. Put a Y or a yes in the chat. Thank you, guys. I can see the yeses coming in. Eda, Norm, Marie, thank you. Vicky, thank you, yes. Tunu, yes, 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 we're together. Twende mbele, asante Haxton. Thank you, Patrick, yes. Okay. Forgive me, guys. Let us do this. Now, this is an egg, okay? It's a special kind of egg. It is a red egg, okay? And this egg is going to be a symbol of what we're using as we go through these various leadership states, if you will, okay? And I'm going to, this is one of those webinars where I'm going to need you to participate, but it's all good. So let's go with the survivor. Survivor. Okay. By the way, what do you see there in terms of this graphic? What do you see? What do you see? In fact, I wish there was some way perhaps we could have somebody unmute and maybe speak. Do you think that's possible, Jane? Do you think that we could perhaps unmute? I want to hear from someone explaining what they see on that screen. Do you think that's possible, rather than doing the chat?
We could.
Okay.
Can
If
raise your
anybody
hand
wants to
and
raise
just
their
unmute
hand, they can
yourself.
just and just give a quick of what they're seeing, and particularly with the egg. That's what I want to see. What is that egg? What's going on with that egg right there? Anybody. Or you can even put it in the chat. It doesn't matter, but I would love to hear it from someone's voice. Anyone?
Okay, I thought I'd be called, but I'll just go ahead. So I'm seeing an egg that's cracking. It's not fully cracked and trying to be held together with an elastoplast.
Okay, fantastic. But and what do you think that signifies? Like what does that say to you? That's clearly what we can see. But what does that mean? What do you think that means?
You're on the brink. You're just holding it together.
Okay. Do you think there's something inside the egg or something? What do you think is going on?
Well, the goodness of
Do you think there's a
an
chicken
egg,
trying to hatch?
Yeah, the goodness or the value of the egg is not in the shell, it's on the inside. So
Okay. Thank you so much for that.
All right.
So yeah, I think it's all of those things that you've said, and I think I was prompting you. I was giving you leading prompts in type. Okay, maybe there's a chicken or some sort of a bird that's trying to hatch. So the egg is cracked. Obviously, it is papered over, and for me, this is where I think a lot of us find ourselves in terms of our work, in terms of our businesses, in terms of our relationships with our teams, with our bosses. All right. we are literally trying to get out, but there's something that is holding us back. Now, notice it is not a chain that is holding us, it's a piece of tape or plaster or elastoplast, depending on where you come from, which means that perhaps with some sort of effort, it can come out. But as you can see with the hand in the back there, we are kicking and hanging on for dear life. Okay. I think this survivor mode is reactive. Okay. It is like you're plugging leaks all day, every day. Okay. You're not choosing your deposits anymore. Your reputation in survivor mode has become reactive. You are kicking and screaming and trying very hard. Okay. Now there may be some hope because, as you can see, that egg has cracked, but it's really a state of survival. Okay. Maybe you're reliable in the short term, but in the long term, people can't trust you. They can't depend on you. Okay. So to me, there's so many ways that this can be interpreted. But in terms of what we're talking about today, it is really we are in survival mode as far as our reputation is concerned, which is obviously related to our personal brand. Okay. So what are we saying here? The need to help your people, your clients, or things fall apart. As I said, reliable in the short term, but people learn to depend on you rather than trust on you, and your reputation becomes reactive. I think that's what I was saying before. Okay. Now let's move on to that egg. Okay. Now what seems to be going on over there? Okay. So this is the next mode of this leadership state, which is called striver. Okay. Now what seems to be going on with the striver? Anybody, again, somebody can unmute or you can throw it in the chat. Feel free. I'd love to have this conversation with you. Jane, any takers?
Hello, I'd like to comment on the
Yes,
egg.
go ahead.
On the first one, I had a different outlook. I was looking at it since there was the elastoplast that it was probably externally placed. So maybe it will symbolize that somebody is trying to control the birthing process for whatever reason. Looking at the hand behind it, maybe there are issues that they had to tackle with. There's other things that they're dealing with, but they're still like trying to hold on to the birthing process so that they may be able to do it in a state where they can be able to build control of things.
Okay. I actually, yeah, that is, I like that sort of interpretation of how this is. Again, these are no sort of hard and fast ways, but it is really trying to say the same thing.
Going on to
survival.
Moving on to the next slide.
To this
I will view it like internally the birthing process will eventually take its own course, and as we can see, things are starting to work out. So mostly just looking at it like an entire process that in leadership positions, all these phases might be there. It's just a matter of how best do you navigate through them without crashing out.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. So, I mean, clearly what we're seeing here is that whatever that chicken or phoenix or whatever bird that is coming out, but it's not fully out. There's no plaster. It's like cracks all over, but there seems to be some kind of movement. And for me, the interpretation of this is that we are busy churning, working hard. Okay. We are busy, putting in extra hours. Okay. In fact, we get an A for effort. Okay, we're in the grind, as they say. But here's the catch. Visibility in this mode comes from busyness, not from a clear, consistent brand. You end up being known for being busy, not necessarily for being either trusted in terms of your reputation. And by the way, this is also the highest burnout risk, by the way. You're working hard for every single deposit, okay? In fact, I think, hang on one second. Let me go to the right slide. Here we go. There we go. Okay. For you, every answer is try harder. Okay. And because of this working hard and working overtime and not necessarily seeing the fruits of your labor, there is some sort of risk, not just of burnout, but of actually caving in. And by the way, this can be looked at from two ends. You can look at this in terms of your reputation, okay? But this risk of this burnout, let me go back here. Is, as I said, not creating you the visibility that is working for your personal brand. I don't know if that makes sense, guys. And again, a lot of us are in this state where we are working hard, we're working hard, we're working hard, we're working hard, but we simply are not seeing the results. All right? And as I said earlier before, we can bounce between the two. So maybe at one point we're surviving, and then we err on the other side and we go to become somebody who's striving, when really what we're looking for is to become the thriver. Okay. So this is the slide that I have. Now here, thriver sounds different, okay? And as you can see here, I won't necessarily ask somebody to explain, but you can clearly see the egg has broken free, okay? In fact, look at what is behind there. There's some sort of a lion or a tiger or some sort of regal creature next to that gentleman, okay? Which shows that we have actually been able to come out on the other side. Now, this is where trust actually compounds. Your reputation precedes you before you even walk into a room. You're known for your genuine connection, okay? You have become a durable brand, if I can use that word. You're not just a logo or a LinkedIn banner. It's what people say about you when you are not around in a positive way, okay? And to me, that is what we should all be trying to get to. So let's put that aside. Okay. We've built a great culture, a community together. Trust has compounded. By the way, you're the leveraging factor here. Your reputation has grows even when you're not present. And as I said, you're known for that genuine connection and for creating this durable brand. And that to me is where we want to be. Thrivers. So what can we do to get there? What can we do to kind of put the right amount of effort so that we can move from being survivors and strivers to becoming thrivers? What is it that we can do? Okay. What needs to be added and what needs to be taken away? I think this is where this conversation is going. All right. So let's see. Okay. So in survivor mode, we're constantly withdrawing, we're spending reserves to keep up, we're reactive, we're inconsistent. So what we want to do is we want to be the opposite of all of these, okay? We want to make sure that we are not just relying on ourselves in terms of how we work. Okay? We want to make sure that we are evenly using whatever talents or gifts that we have, but we're also being able to bring in other people in terms of what they can do to help us. And as far as the striver is concerned, working hard for every single deposit, there's little leverage, little compounding, okay? The typical thing, as we say, we want to be able to work smart instead of work hard, okay? And finally, this is where we can achieve in terms of where we would like to be. We're consistent, authentic with our deposits, and these are growing even when we're offline. As I said before, it's what people say about you when you are not in the room. Okay? So again, just to give a little bit of a recap, maybe. Survivor, have to help everyone, constantly reactive. Striver, hard work, solves it all, focused on individual effort. Whereas Thriver, we build this together, we're fostering trust, and we're fostering growth. Okay, so you knew this was coming. Okay. If the survivor is withdrawing, spending reserves, and the striver is breaking even, working hard, and the thriver is compounding, where are you? Which state are you in right now? Are you A, survivor, B, striver, C, thriver? Why don't you put it ahead in the chat and tell me where are you right now? Which one is actually closest to where you are right now? Not where you want to be, but where you actually are right now. Let's put it in the chat and let's have this conversation. Okay. Thank you, between A and B. Striver, Grace. Thank you, Renee. Okay. B, Rita. Thank you. C, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. I can see all of those coming in. A, B, C, A, B. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. Now, so what are we going to do to perhaps get to where we want to be thriving? And remember, we can change day to day, week to week, month to month. So how do we actually move there? Okay, so I put this together, 4 pillars of brand investment, whether you're aware of it or not. First of all, executive presence, how you show up on screen, how you show up in the room, how you show up to meetings, okay? Posture, energy, the first 10 seconds of any meeting before you've said anything. Secondly, obviously, communication. And for me, it's visibility. It's that 55% of body language, perhaps how you present yourself physically, how you dress. And honestly, it's the actual message you're sending versus the one you think you're sending, which is all the same thing. The third pillar there is what I call consistency and authenticity. And to me, this is all about emotional intelligence. It's really the emotional intelligence underneath this credible and trusted brand. Are you the same person under pressure that you are on a good day? Okay. Do you have resilience, self-awareness? Are you authentic? Do you inspire people? Okay. Do you have self-management? And then the fourth is this thing called relationship equity. So the trust and the goodwill that you banked with people over time. This one is slow to build, but it actually creates massive deposits on your side. So if we were to look at, shall we say, a plan for this, okay? Just some simple things we can do. Now, again, I could have given you a laundry list of things you can do. Here are 3 that skipped out to me, particularly as they pertain to your personal brand. So we'll start with number 1, which is audit your online presence. Okay. And for me, your online presence usually starts with your LinkedIn profile. So, when was the last time you updated your LinkedIn profile? When was the last time you engaged in a meaningful way using the algorithm, which, by the way, changes every month or so, in order for you to connect with a broad audience? Do you have an updated picture of yourself? Have you updated your banner? When was the last time you revised the headlines that describe you? What have you put in there that you have posted that engages with people and your target market in a meaningful way? So many things you can do with your LinkedIn profile. Have you gone in and asked people to give you a review, okay, or a recommendation on LinkedIn so that people can find you? Okay. Do you comment and post on other people's relevant posts that showcase your area of expertise? Do you attend the numerous LinkedIn webinars, literally hundreds across the world from LinkedIn experts every week? I make sure I attend a LinkedIn meeting in terms of giving me tips and hacks and ways that I can better use LinkedIn and work on the algorithm. And I do that regularly, at least once a month, because I know that's where I'm going to get the most in terms of my reputation. Okay. And of course, there's other areas. Are you picking and choosing which areas you work in terms of your online presence? Okay. Are you targeted or are you all over the place? Are you intentional with what you post? Do people clearly see that this is your area of expertise? Again, depending on what platform you're using. Okay. So there's so many things that you can do, but that's one of the ways, particularly because our brands are online. Okay. Number 2 was showing up to physical meetings. Now, again, physical meetings, it could be a coffee, it could be an official meeting, it could be a boardroom meeting, it could be you showing up with your team to the office, depending on your situation. It could be how you show up with your clients. But when was the last time you looked at literally what you're wearing? I had a meeting today with an organization, an NVO, that are decidedly casual in terms of how they present themselves. And for me, the tipping point, because we were looking for work, was how I and the team presented ourselves. Not necessarily dressing in three-piece suits, but certainly dressing like we wanted the job better than they had hoped for. It certainly worked in our favor. Okay. And body language, I mean, I can go on until the cows come home about body language, positive body language, and how that correlates to how we behave and carry ourselves. I think some of you maybe have sat in sessions where I've gone on about how important it is from our nonverbals, okay, and so on. Okay. I just have one eye on the clock, so I just want to make sure that I get everything in before the end. Have you developed and invested in your soft skills? Okay. Now, for me, these range from the emotional intelligence, as I've talked, to resilience, self-awareness, self-management, authenticity, to public speaking, obviously leadership. This is touching on leadership, but intentionally investing in these skills, getting a training or a coach, or deliberately working on them. I think I've said it before that to me, for example, the number one soft skill that I think everyone should invest in is public speaking. Okay? But we'll rank all of these the same. Working on your emotional intelligence and so on and so forth. So, as I said, there's a whole list of things here that we can talk about in terms of developing and building so that you can attain that leadership state of thriving. All right. The big finish, guys. Your next deposit starts now. Okay? As I said, your reputation is currency. It appreciates or depreciates with every interaction you have. The state that you're leading from, survivor, striver, or thriver. And this decides whether it compounds or drains. And it starts right away, not next quarter, not after the promotion, not after you get that client, but it starts now. Okay? And just so that I can help you along that journey, I have a free leadership assessment to see truly whether you're striver, thriver, or survivor that you can take with me. And if you're interested in that, just drop in the chat assessment. Just put there assessment. Jane, if you can help me just get those names of the people who would be interested in taking this free assessment, and I'd be happy to have that meeting with any or all of you. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm doing I can see them flooding in. All right. Jim, please help me to take those, to take all of those, take all of those names in. Thank you. All right. So, what is it costing you? You know, a international bound flight that is leaving Nairobi for a capital somewhere in Europe, traveling those 3,000 miles, if the radar on that plane is 1 degree off, okay, every 60 miles, that plane will be 1 mile off. So if you do the compounding effort, okay, by the time that plane lands in Frankfurt or Amsterdam, it has actually done a circle and landed back exactly where it took off, JKIA. So, you know, the incremental effect of not working on this, not working on your communication skills, not working on your resilience, not working on getting out of the survivor mode, has this compounding effect that lasts for a long time. And the opposite is true. If you're able to work in thriver mode, if you are able to have greater self-awareness when dealing with your teams or your customers, if you are able to create an environment of psychological safety for your teams, for example, so that they're able to give you feedback and you're able then to move on with projects and things that you're working on and dealing with clients, you tilt those scales in your favor in a positive way. And then that compounding effect actually lasts for a long time. Okay? Your reputation is not a moment, but it is actually like a book of accounts. It's a ledger. Okay? It can increase that bag, that suitcase, that handbag, if you will, or you can decrease it. It's not one moment. It is a series of moments, and that's what we need to be working towards. All right. Quick check of the time, and maybe a couple of minutes if we do for any feedback, questions, testimonials, whatever you feel like. You can either put it in the chat, we can read it out, or you can unmute yourself and hopefully I'll be able to answer it from there. Jane, are you able to see anything?
This is Vicky.
Oh, hey, Vicky.
I'm looking at the chat. Yeah, I'm not yet seeing anything. But I have a question for you.
Sure.
So what are the quick signs? Maybe quick check, or is this the leadership assessment for the Thrive? Like one sign each for Thrive, Strive, and Survive.
Sorry, Vicky, what's the question?
I'm asking what is the one thing, like one sign, let me just say sign, whether you're in thrive, strive, or survive, even as the comments come in.
Well, I think, like as I was illustrating with those, with some of the slides, you could see there was somebody climbing, there was the egg trying to break free. If you find yourself sort of, your head is underwater, literally,
Yeah.
perhaps at the end of the day, you feel that you have not accomplished much. And again, it could be literally just in terms of this reputation thing that we're talking about, or just how you, in terms of you work. You find that you're treading water and you're not moving forward. I think you yourself have a great idea of how your business is doing, how you are doing within your business, within your department, and do you find yourself working hard without the commensurate results? Okay. Then you're probably in survivor or thriver mode. Now, the great thing with the assessment is that it really narrows it down and gives you a full picture of where you are. The first time, and by the way, the first time I took that assessment, I thought I was doing okay. I mean, I wasn't necessarily thinking that I was in thriver mode, but I certainly didn't think I was in survivor mode. But lo and behold, after taking the assessment and the very detailed questions that they asked, I found that I was in that particular mode. So then what happens is, of course, we go through a series of exercises, activities, training, if you will, okay, different ways that we can actually engage with different people. And then I took the test again and I found myself, I was in thriver mode.
Okay. All right.
Does that answer that?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that does. Okay. I think I'll take the test too. And you have some great comments coming in from Renee. She says this was very worthwhile and insightful on leadership states. And then Patrick, all the way from the US, says, I really enjoyed the presentation. I was challenged positively. And we have Mary Miner who says, I look forward to these sessions. Soon I will enroll for one of the trainings. You're very, very welcome, Mary, anytime. And we do have another one that's coming up by Mr. Derek Bbanga himself. And then we have from Millicent, informative session today. Looking forward to the assessment and to move from striver to thriver. And we have Lillian says, appreciate the insights. 10, it was worth investing the time for myself this evening for great insights. And then last but not least, we have Grace, who says, please share the nuggets of advice for a leader with a boss who lacks emotional intelligence. That is in terms of protecting his or her reputation. And I think this is a question asking you to share nuggets of advice for a leader with a boss who lacks emotional intelligence. That is in terms of protecting his or her reputation. That's for you,
All right,
Derek.
Grace. Yeah, sure. My advice, as usual, might be counterintuitive. Everything is your fault. Sorry, I don't mean that in the literal sense. But when we are working with difficult bosses, we're working with unreasonable clients, we're working with unbearable team members or direct reports, the onus is on you to be the change. And to be the change means is how you deal with that person. It is your interpretation and the story that you tell yourself about however that person is acting. And again, I can say to myself, I know I'm going into a situation that is toxic. I'm going into a work environment that is unhealthy. I'm dealing with a boss who is unreasonable. And so what do I expect? Do I expect somebody who is an unreasonable person to all of a sudden flip the switch and be reasonable? Now, of course, we would love for them to change. But mine is to, what are the tactics that I can use to protect myself from being implicated in that toxicity that is coming from a boss or a client or something else. Now, we can go through those in terms of that's the emotional intelligence training, resilience, self-awareness, so on and so forth, things like that. But Grace, my answer to you is take that onus on yourself and say, what am I going to do to protect myself? Okay. What am I going to do to protect myself from that person? Not to have them change, but for me to be able to thrive, by the way, not survive in that environment. Remember, to thrive in that environment. What do I have to do? Okay. And I'll leave it at that. And by the way, Vicky, you said that there is a follow-up session to this. I think the follow-up session would be, particularly if people take the assessment, now, what are the things that we can do to actually get from survivor, striver to thriver? Maybe that would be a good session.
Okay, good. I think then we have the next session. So take up the assessment. I know I'm taking mine up. I'll sign up for it. Definitely looking forward to seeing what my results will be. And of course, then joining into the next session where we talk about how you can move from survivor, striver into thriver. So thank you so much, Derek. I don't see any other chats coming up. Care to tell us a little bit about the online self-paced course that you are running?
Yes. So I have, first of all, let me give you some context over here. So I have my book, which came out a few months ago, and there is a code there if anybody would like to either buy a copy, maybe for that boss who is a little bit difficult, Grace. You can take that QR code. And for those of you who want to reach out to me directly, I'm just going to change this. That is the QR code to my personal contacts, including my LinkedIn. LinkedIn is usually my point of call for professional engagements. Sorry, Vicky, you had asked me to do what?
No, please go ahead. And then finally, you'll talk about the program as well. Please go ahead.
Yes. So we have an online program that is an extended masterclass of 4 sessions that is online that you can also sign up for. It is on a rolling basis. So you can take that online, and there we go into more details in terms of things like I'd mentioned, whether it is the dressing, how to use your voice, how to network, how to command a room, more on working on your online profile. So you can sign up for that session. And I believe if you go to the profiles picture there on this Zoom call, that you can get the details to sign up for that course. And that is a rolling course. So you sign up, you take it at your own pace, and it is 4 sessions, including 1 online session. But these are courses that are paced. You go in, it is recorded, and you go in and you take it. So I'd encourage everybody to, if you're interested in that, you can take that. Vicky, was that what you wanted me to talk about?
Yes, wonderful, fantastic. Thank you very much, Derek. So you now know how to contact Derek. I hope you've scanned the QR code. You can get in touch with him directly. You can find him on LinkedIn. He's very, very active there, or even on Instagram. And of course, scan the QR code for the book, the next step, and do feel free to register onto the course, which is about personal branding and etiquette. Without further ado, I think we have come to the conclusion of this particular webinar. Unless, Derek, you have any parting shot as we wrap it up?
No, what I would say is that everybody has the capacity to get themselves into this thriver state, to be both powerful and to be human. And you can make deposits in terms of how you deal with the everyday situations in order for everybody to be thriving. I think that's where we would all want to be. So I'd encourage everybody to reflect on some of the things we discussed today and see how you can become a thriving leader rather than the other ones. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And there you have it. Are we thriving? Are we striving? Or are we surviving? As always, it's been an absolute pleasure hosting you today during this webinar. And thank you so much, Derek Bbanga, for always honoring our invitation. International. And of course, follow Derek, look him up and take that assessment, and let's meet here at the next webinar to find out how do we move through the steps. So let me wish you a lovely evening, everybody, a good evening, and God bless you all. We'll see you at the next webinar. Take care and bye-bye.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Derek. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Jane? Jane, are you still there?
Hey, Derek. Thank you.
Sorry, Derek.
What's up?
Vicky?
Yes, Derek.
I just want to make sure you get the names of everybody who wanted the assessment.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
I got them. I'll share them with you.
Okay, cool. Put me on that name, on that list.
Yes, I
Okay,
will.
bye.
All right then. Thank you. Thank you, Derek.